Good roll?
Yes, sir. All right, there you go.
Can you hear me? All right, it's 6:30. I'll call this meeting to order. First up, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So Mayor Flaherty and Councilor Corbus are unavailable tonight, so I'll be running the meeting. As far as comments, the steak feed had a great turnout, and I believe it was okay. And tomorrow night is the National Night Out. I believe we got still use some more. If anyone wanting to help out, please contact the police department and see everybody there tomorrow. Councilor Westrom? No comment.
No comments.
Yeah, hopefully everybody enjoyed the steak feed. Hopefully everybody comes out tomorrow night. Teresa, thanks for all your library Wednesdays for my grandkids. They enjoy that. Mark, to your staff down the Riverwalk, cutting the brush along the pathway. Looks really good, so.
Councilor Frazier?
Well, just a couple things. Number one is I have finally totally retired. I turned in my keys and everything to the DA's office on Friday, so
Congratulations.
I'm officially done. So, Corey says, I am now retired, don't even think about going back. So, anyway, won't make National Night Out tomorrow because I'm teaching Reserve Officer Training Academy at the same time. So, but they've been great in the past, and I hope everybody turns out it's a wonderful experience.
Next up is the consent calendar meeting minutes for July 6, 2026.
It's July 6th of 2026.
Second.
Made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carries. Next up is staff reports.
So only thing to add in my report, I did put in there that we'll have some revisions to the city fire code. And we had to do a public notice for that because it will be by ordinance. And the public notices, Liz has already done those. So you'll be seeing those at our September 8th meeting, highlighting September 8th, a Tuesday because of the holiday. So basically, and you'll get to see them, in the packet, but basically, it gives some of the items which we have reserved in our code back to the state fire marshal's office. Since we have a resident state fire marshal, it makes that a lot simpler, and they're more than willing to help out, our fire department, investigative needs, all those kind of things. So pretty excited about that. And that's all I have unless there's any questions.
Next up is our new finance director.
So I'll actually give the report, but I wanted to introduce Mike Mallory to the council members and the community. The department heads all met him. He's been on board for a couple of weeks. So, if there's any errors in the finance report, they're mine, not his. But next month, that'll be his problem. Okay, on the finance report, there's two in here. One is the unaudited end of July report for fiscal year 26-27. We run like for 2 weeks a week, a month 13 to close out previous fiscal year stuff. So, nothing too abnormal there. You will see that the ambulance fund, has a negative beginning fund balance. And, that's because we had some building issues, but that building is being caught up. So, obviously, that's going to be this, current fiscal year, but we're okay with that. I think the water fund, had a better beginning fund balance than we thought, and sewer fund a little bit less. But, that kind of stuff shakes out. Obviously, the fire fund is in the red right now, but that is because we haven't made transfers from the general fund or, received payment from the rural fire district. Pretty simple stuff, though. So that is basically it. And then, the starting year report, not a whole lot of expenses in there. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I've got for this month.
So, Ms. Fire.
The only thing I'd like to add is that we did have the steak feed this weekend, and we did sell out of all of our steak meals, so I believe just over 825, I believe was the number in total. It was a great turnout, so I want to thank all the sponsors that came out and helped make that event happen. That's a huge event for our department, so I just want to thank everybody that came out and had a great time. Other than that, I can answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Next up is planning.
I have nothing to add to my report. Let me know if you have any questions.
All right, next up is Public Works.
Thank you, Council. Something to add to my report, because a couple things, actually, we just found out about last week. And thank you, Haley, for saving the thunder for me. But we did get awarded our $250,000 small city allotment grant for paving Fir. That is going to require a substantial city commitment as well. We won't know really how much until we get further into the pre-design, and that activity won't begin until we get a contract in hand from ODOT, which should be around October, I suspect. The other thing to add to is there's a pre-construction meeting tomorrow regarding the timber sale up at Rink Creek. So I don't know how many more details on their schedule up there, but I know that, probably pretty soon after this meeting, they're going to get working up there. With that, I'm happy to answer your questions.
Next up is library.
I have nothing to add, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Thank you. All right, next up is police.
Nothing to add to my report, just want to plug National Night Out. Just hope to see everybody there, and if anyone feels inclined to come help out, we'd certainly appreciate that. Otherwise, I'll be happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
Last but not least, city recorder. to sign up for public participation?
No, sir.
Okay.
Council, I apologize, I didn't realize there was a signing process. May I have a moment?
Step up to the microphone. You'll have 3 minutes.
Shorter than that.
Okay.
I want to introduce myself, and council, thank you for just a couple of minutes. My name is Tom Parker. I'm the interim CEO at the hospital. As many of you know, Jeff Lang moved on to a position in state of Minnesota, actually where I was born. I retired from a career in hospital administration back in January. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the recruiting firm who was working on the interim placement and I have had a long-standing relationship over the years, and they called me, and now I stand before you to introduce myself. You have a gem of a hospital here. It's just such a privilege to work there. I'm in my 4th week. It's a fabulous team of people, very committed. They work well together. My job here over the next 6 to 9 months is to keep things going and hand off to your permanent new CEO a well-running organization. That won't be hard because it is a very good organization, and I'm thoroughly enjoying getting to know the staff there, and open to any feedback that you may have about your hospital that I can help you with. But again, tonight was just an introduction to you and the staff here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is agenda item number 8, award of the water funded by SDWRF.
Thank you, council, and you guys should all have received some supplemental information at meeting time. Sorry for all the late additional information, but this is just an ongoing process. We were working on it well into last week. And I think the easiest way to take you through this is maybe go to page 3 of that packet, the one that starts with the additional information for agenda item 8. So if you look up at the top graph up there, you'll see WCC bid costs. The West Coast Contractors was the sole bidder. We went over that last month for this project. They bid on all 3 schedules for this project, and their total came to a little over $3.7 million, which was almost $1.2 million over what we had budgeted, the budget that we had submitted to the funding agency for construction period. Through negotiations with them and slightly reducing the scope of work, we got that total down to just under $3 million for their contract. The omitted was the one seismic valve at the Ording tank. We're still putting one in at the Knowlton tank. We allowed for a change in method for dredging the reservoir from pumped to clamshell dredging. We extended the project completion for a couple months, and then we made clarifications with them. Now, these were items that we intended to do. It was just maybe not clear in the spec, not clear to the contractor, but when we asked for their schedule of values, it was clear that they had put stuff in there that they didn't need to have in there. So all of that allowed them to reduce their price to this $2.988295. Now, if you add in a couple of other construction costs outside of the West Coast work, we come up to just over $3 million. So if you look at the graph on the bottom, you can see the first column, that's the amount and the budget items that are each in of those categories that were submitted to the funding agency. So what we did to increase our construction budget from 2.547 to 3.015, first of all, the engineers reduced their fee by about $200,000. small thing. And if you guys know how these engineering budgets are built and submitted, there's usually like a formula for it. So you take your full project amount and you take about 14% for design, 2% for bidding, and 4% for construction management, which brings you to 20%. That was our 20%. Well, they were very comfortable saying they could do this based on where they were after design, for $310,000 instead of $509,000. So that, we gained some money there. So the environmental review and the permitting and regulatory fees were reduced. And that was what we discovered. If we weren't going to be discharging any water overland, we didn't need a lot of the permits that we thought we might need. So that we don't intend to spend any of that money. So we've preliminarily submitted this to the funding agency, this revised budget, and one thing they let us know was that contingency was still going to have to be 10% of the construction cost. So what we did, and what is typical in these projects, sometimes in these projects, you'll even see owners put up the contingency first off to maximize the use of the available funding in the hopes that they don't spend that contingency. So our budget still has $135,000 of funded contingency, but what, we will be committing the city and the water fund to is up to an additional $165,000 of contingency, which I never hope to spend, but we're very comfortable with this number considering that the contingency line in the 26-27 water fund is over $400,000. So, we don't want to spend that. We want to save that, stockpile that, build our war chest for other big capital improvements, but if we need to use it for this one, we've told the funding agency that we will. So, what's next is, you can see the breakdown for the schedule of values. If anyone's interested or wants to dig into that more. What we're asking council tonight is to, first of all, accept the sole responsive bid received from West Coast Contractors, and then to motion to approve award of the contract to West Coast Contractors in that stated amount, pending funding agency approval of the revised budget and project schedule. So, happy to answer any questions you have about the process.
Yes, Mark, I have a question. So the first page, first thing that jumps out at me is we got $3.491 million from the fund, and we budgeted, and you said that we budgeted 2.5. Can you explain that $900,000? Where's that $900,000 difference? Where's that going?
That is for engineering, labor standards compliance, environmental review, federal requirements, legal fees, permitting and regulatory fees.
Actually, it's 2.5.
Okay, so we got 3.4, and and their bid was 3.7.
Correct.
But that's not 2.5.
Our budget includes the whole project, which is permitting, design, and construction, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
So the construction budget is only a fraction of the total budget. So,
A large fraction, most of it, but
and the construction budget was what, Mark, 2.5?
2.547 was the original construction budget.
Okay.
You mentioned the Orting Heights tank,
Yes.
the valve, seismic valve. Is that valve okay? That's my neighborhood where I live.
Well-
Is that at some point that'll get replaced, or?
Well, yeah, there's, The only thing up there now is an altitude valve that's not used anymore. They used to run the system a little bit differently. I think they found that it basically is almost the same elevation as the Knowlton Heights tank. So we just let the system fill it. And the reason for the seismic valves is in the event of a big seismic event, you figure your lines are going to start, you're going to have some line breaks in there. And the seismic valves will immediately shut to retain whatever water you have in that tank. So we'll still have the Knowlton Heights storage. We won't have the benefit of the Ording storage. Now, the other thing is we have to go clear across town to feed the Ording tank. So if there's a more valuable seismic valve to have and tank to be using, of course, it's the Knowlton Heights tank. And reality is, if lines start breaking, it's not going to be a matter of, we just turn on the water again, but to fix a single line from the treatment plant down to the Knowlton Heights tank still gives us a big storage area where, residents, fire department, somebody can have a spot to go fill. And we have a storage area for some potable water.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
To award the contract to the construction of the city's water reservoir, and
I think we want, yeah.
I'm on the wrong page. To accept the loan response bid for the city of Coquille, SDWR-LF Water Improvement Project received on June 17th, 2026 from West Coast Contractors in the amount of, they lowered that amount.
Well,
So,
we're just
amount of-
accepting the bid with this motion.
Okay.
Yeah, we're accepting, we accept that bid.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Do I need to list the amount in the motion? Oh, $3,015,895, right? That was the,
$3,723,000 was the bid.
Motion's verbatim.
but I thought the amount was, that they came in was less than the amount.
That was their original bid.
So we have to accept the bid before we can award the contract.
Correct.
Change
We have to
the
accept the
amount
bid with the higher amount?
contract.
Correct, yeah,
Okay, so we have to accept the
Okay.
3.7 bid,
right.
but we're not obligated to pay 3.7 when
Right.
we award the
We're
contract.
not awarding the contract at that amount. We're just accepting the
Okay.
bid was
Okay.
responsive,
So then
yes.
the contract would be the second motion, which would be
Got
the
it.
2.9 million.
Okay, so I'll correct that. Let me restart. Move to accept the loan response bid from the City of Coquille, SDWRL Water Improvement Project, received June 17th, 2026 from West Coast Contractors in the amount of $3,723,000.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Hearing none, motion carries.
All right, I'll move to award the contract for the construction of the city's water reservoir and tank reconditioning and repair project to the West Coast Contractors in the amount of $2,988,295 pending funding agency approval.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Next up is agenda item number 9, consider resolution 11-2026, adding a new administrator for online access and authorizing of the city bank accounts.
Standard procedure, council, Mr. Mallory wants to be able to, have all this fun. So this is the correct resolution that we've used in the past to give him proper access and responsibility for our various accounts.
I move we approve resolution number 11-2026.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Next up, agenda item 10, authorization to reallocate funds.
So I did put on the DS this evening an additional item just to show council that in fact on the mortgage, which is the real estate loan listed here for City Hall, that we're actually ahead on our payments there, and we did budget a payment this year, as we do every year, but we're not actually have one due till July of 2029. So based on the destruction of the charger, so to speak, became more imminent than what we had planned. And as you all probably know, no more chargers, right? So, the next thing is then you have to get Durangos. And, chargers were relatively inexpensive, I suppose. But, just they're not available. So with a combination of the insurance money that we'll get for the charger being totaled, along with $35,000 that we already had in equipment reserves for a police car, we will still need somewhere between $19,000 and $21,000. So what we're asking council to do is to allow us to reallocate those funds to be spent on the Durango.
Why do we have it budgeted if it wasn't due until 2029?
Because we were paying ahead, which is a good
Okay.
thing to do on mortgages, but it's nice to be ahead on something, but
Move we approve reallocation of up to $21,000 replacement vehicle for the police department.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Consider Northwest Natural easement on GP lot number 10.
So, again, I think I can get us through this pretty quickly. If you go to the last page of this agenda item, this colorful diagram that I put together. So what you're looking at there is what is commonly known to us as GP Lot 10, and that's the approximately .79 acre parcel that is just to the south of the ODOT office on Highway 42. So what Northwest intends to do is reroute some of that gas line, and they're going to discontinue along the river right at about Rink Creek and cut up through the Jacobson property there where we access our river pumps, and then follow Highway 42 up to their transfer station just south of the ODOT, up to GP Lot 10. In order to get to their station, however, they need to get around a wetlands area that you can see from this diagram. So the yellow is approximately what they're looking for easement from the city. So that's through parcel number 202. Parcel number 203, which is just to the south, is also owned by the city, but it is almost entirely encumbered by a Northwest Natural easement for their transfer station. They asked the city to grant them this easement to run the pipeline through 203, or 202, and what staff, or I asked them, was maybe in lieu of some payment for that, would they consider improving their access on the southwest portion of this station? So that could be used as the primary access. And the gain for us there is anyone, if the city or, anybody we sell the property to wants to develop that lot 202 in the future, they don't have to worry for, lengths of time about the gas company trying to get in there. And I'd like to steer them towards that other access. But what that would involve for them is installing a new gate and putting some fill and rock and basically improving that road. And where that is right past, it's basically the blue part there is what they'd have to improve. The red part, we've already improved, and we use that, both for maintenance access back there, and our Riverwalk users like to use it too as a loop. The yellow valve in there I marked was another thing I asked them. That valve box was too low, and we haven't been able to fill that little corner in there. And I actually just saw a work order for them to come out and do that. So they intend to raise that valve box up, and they intend to improve that access as well. They'd like to get going on this project, however, they didn't have the easements for me to bring to you to improve. Since this is for somebody else's benefit, not the city's benefit, it goes beyond staff level approval, this easement, and goes to council. They said in lieu of that, they would like us, they will allow them to keep moving on their project, is to sign the letter of intent included in this packet. And they also included a workspace agreement. I think that's something that's probably within the city manager's purview to agree. It's just a temporary workspace agreement around the pipeline, but I included it in here nonetheless for you guys to make a motion on. So I guess what we're asking tonight is to authorize the signing of this letter of intent to grant the easement, you know, with the understanding herein written in that agreement that they will be improving their access to the southwest corner of the station. And when they have these easements ready, which, did they actually send those over?
They did.
Okay.
So I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Okay, yeah, so we just got those, and we'll be bringing those, you know, to council, but at next month's meeting. But this will allow them to continue with their work on schedule here. They're trying to get this done pretty quick. Any questions you guys have about this?
Instead of buying the easement, they're agreeing to improve that road and fix that switch or whatever.
I'm sorry?
Instead of paying us money for the easement, they're agreeing to improve the road and then also do that extra work.
The access, yeah, the road to that access point and install the gate and make that their primary access. And I should add that real market value on this 2,600 square feet is less than $2,000. And I think a standard for easements like this is not a very restrictive easement. I think we'll be allowed to pave over it and put concrete curb and things like that. No buildings, certainly, which probably wouldn't go in this area anyway if you see how this lot would be developed. I think that those are typically, you know, 75 down to 50%, usually in the 50% level of real market value for that square footage, which would put it at about $1,000. And I can promise you they'll be doing more than $1,000 worth of work on the access, but not too much more. You know, it doesn't involve too much, but it will be putting in a new gate, bringing in some fill, bringing in some rock.
So it would be to the benefit of the city to let them have this easement.
Yes, it will be, yeah.
To approve the signing of the letter of intent and temporary working space agreement between the City of Coquille and Northwest Natural Gas Company related to the easements on 28S 13 W01 DD 0020200 GP Lot 10.
Second. All right, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Unanimously carries. For good of the order, our next city council meeting will be Tuesday, September 8th, I believe, because of Labor Day.
Yes.
Anything else for good of the order? 7:04, I'll adjourn the regular meeting, and at 7:04, I will consent calendar meeting minutes for July 6, 2026.
I move we approve the consent calendar.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Next up is consider request for URA funds.
So the chief has, tried to get more written bids since the last time this item was considered, and we just, at this point, have the one. Nobody else is,
Mark has reached out, he talked to a gentleman, and he said he was coming, have not seen him. Steve DeBazar also talked with a couple people, and they said, yep, and nobody showed up. This is Mike at Squeon, or however you say that. He did say that, I know here we said we'd get a contract, but he said, you know what, I'm gonna wait until the URA says go ahead, that way it's not like, well, here's my contract, wave it in front of you. So he said, once there's approval, then he'll send a contract and then we can sign everything. But like he said, he's gonna keep it fair throughout. If somebody else wants to bid on it, bid on it. But this is 3 months now, we've had it open, and we still haven't got anybody committed to come take a look, and I'm not sure why. So,
What's his bid?
what's that?
How much?
His bid was just under 70,000.
65,880.
65,880. So where it gets a little different, it's a 7-inch pad, 5,500 PSI, so that's where the cost really goes up. And the weight of the trucks are not getting any lighter, so that's why that concrete expense is so high.
I'll make the motion to award the projects to, is it Scullon? Construction for
Is it award the contract, or is it accept the bid?
At this point, it'll be accept a bid, I believe, right?
Yes.
We don't have a contract in front of us.
Well, so you all can accept the bid tonight and close the bidding on this project, and then you'll have to approve the contract to award it, and that would be at the next URA meeting.
Okay, let's accept the bid.
All right. I move to accept the bid from Scullon Contracting for
$65,880.
$65,880.
Second.
Motion made. All those in favor? Aye. So it carries. Anything for the good of the order?